Hello, everybody. Welcome to GICC Live. I'm trying something new every time, so I'm trying to play around with all these lights and stuff today. I hope you can see me better, and I hope I'll be able to navigate a little better. So for everyone who is watching, I'm going to ask you to put live that you're watching live. So if you're watching, I would like for you to put live, and if you're watching on the replay, you can put hashtag replay. So if you're watching live, put hashtag live, and if you're watching on the replay, put hashtag replay. I'm so happy to come to you today, guys, because I have a very, very, very important topic to talk about. Okay, this one is a mystery. I don't know how the French say it, but it is a mystery to me. So if you're here, I would like to see you dropping some comments there. And I see Lisa. Welcome, Lisa. Thanks for coming in. And thank you to be here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start right now to talk about one of the most important questions. I don't call it a question, actually. What is it, right? Because to me, when I was growing up, a question has to have a question sign at the end of it, okay? And this one never has a question sign. I see Kashif Ashgar coming in. Hello, Kashif. Nice to be here. Christian is here, and April Dixon is here. Thank you for coming, April. Thank you for coming, Kashif. And Lisa, let me highlight Lisa there. And as everybody else stream in, Christian, thank you for being here. So most of my shows, just want to tell you a little bit about it because some of you have been coming in for the first time. So some of my shows are like a masterclass because I'm a career specialist. I've had a long, extensive experience in as a career professional and also as an IT recruiter for 15 years. I went from, as I say, from the help desk to the executive desk. I was senior director of recruiting, sales, and proposal for a company in Canada called Mindwire. So I've seen a lot of resumes, thousands and thousands of resumes, and I've placed a lot of people in very lucrative jobs in the Canadian federal government. Some of them are probably on this call. So I am here and I want to tell you about the topic, which is the big elephant in the room, okay? So, sorry about that. So this is what I want you to see. Okay. Tell me about yourself. To me, tell me about yourself is not a question. So we are going to talk about when you go to an interview and the person says, tell me about yourself. What do they want to know? So I want to tell you what they want to know. So as I say, I'm playing around with something so that you can see bigger screens today. So for me, I think the tell me about yourself statement is what I call an icebreaker. I call it an icebreaker because, to tell you the truth, when you go for an interview, the client wants you, let me take this off the screen, the client wants to know you better. And that is the reason. And it's just like going to a party, okay? When you go to a party, I'm trying to take one of these banners off, make sure that they don't show. Okay, good, great. I'm there. So when you go to a party, guys, you want to introduce yourself to people, right? When you get into an interview situation, the client really wants to know more about you. They want to break the ice. They want you to feel comfortable. So it is trying to build what we call emotional equity with you. So don't be afraid of this statement. Once you're prepared to go to the interview, do not be afraid of this. Tell me about yourself. So what are they trying to find out? It is important to know what they are trying to find out with this icebreaker question, right? So, what is an icebreaker? It says a successful icebreaker breaks through communication obstacles, right? Fuels creativity and creates an environment where job seekers feel comfortable. It is to build emotional equity between the candidate and the interviewer. So, I'm not so sure why you are afraid of it. But this is to build confidence, and it is important that when you go to the job interview that you relax to answer this question. And I'm going to tell you how to answer this question. And also, it is important they want to validate some of the information that is on your resume, because we know that some of us don't write our resumes, right? And sometimes we need to know if you know what you are saying is the truth. So you don't have to be afraid of it. All you have to do is to know your story and know how to tell your story. All right. So let me get to the next point. Now, when you get to a job, when you're going to a job interview, you should be well prepared, right? So that you go with confidence. Because the first impressions, I call they are the most lasting. So you need to start with a compelling story. So if you get comfortable with the tell me about yourself story, then you are maybe 35% of the way through. So here is how to tell a compelling story. Just remember these things. You're going to focus on your work abilities. So when they ask you to tell me about yourself, they really want your work story. They do not want your personal story. And I give you a little joke. I used to live in the Cayman Islands. And when I was leaving the Cayman Islands to go back to Jamaica, I applied for a job and I went for the job. I had no idea. I'm telling you, I had no idea how to answer this question. So when the lady asked me, I was telling her about myself, how I left Jamaica, went to Grand Cayman. I was teaching, I was doing this. I was working in the Cayman Islands Treasury. It was a financial job. So I was focusing on how I was working the Cayman Islands Treasury, but most of it was about my personal story and how I got to go to the Cayman Islands and how I enjoyed my time. The lady was not interested in that. I think what she wanted to know is my work story. So just remember that you should focus on your work story, okay? So when you go to the interview, you're going to focus on your work story. So let us continue to talk about some of the other things that you can tell this job interviewer about, okay? I'm kind of going through some slides here. Just want to get through the next slide. Now, confidence. Remember the 2 S's. You're going to focus on your success, I have been, or what your background is, and you're going to focus on some strengths. So keep that in mind. You're going to focus on your success and you're going to focus on your strengths. So scenario 1, there are 3 scenarios that I'm going to give you today. If you have been working with the same company for a long time. So how you're going to tell your work story? If you have been working with the same company for a long time. How you're going to tell your work story if you have had several jobs. And how you're going to tell your work story if you have been a new graduate. So 3 scenarios we're going to talk about right here. Okay, what about scenario 1? If you have been working with the same company for a long time, what you can do is tell them how you started and what you have achieved through the years, right? So you can tell a little story about how you started out in your career. For example, when I was at Mindwire, I could tell them how I started at Mindwire. I could even tell them how I got the job and how I started at Mindwire and how I worked as a technical recruiter, how I moved up in the job and some of the things that I did to elevating that job and how I moved up again. Or if you're working for the same job for a long time, if you have had several projects within the job, you can tell them about some very interesting projects that you have achieved on the job. For those of us who are consultants, you have had several consulting jobs. So you want to tell them about the interesting projects that you have been working on, right? If you are a cloud engineer, or if you're a web developer or a software developer, you're going to tell about the interesting things that you have been doing, right? So you make sure that you tell them, and you tell them about the milestones that bring them to where you are today. And you have to continue and tell them how you will apply that experience in the new position. So it's pretty simple. You've been working at this job for such and such a time, and some of the interesting things that you have done, and also some of your milestones, and how you'll apply that experience to the new position. Pretty simple, right? So I just want to hear if there's anybody. I see my friend, let me get to some messages here. So I see some friends here. Lots of friends are here. Okay, so drop a comment and let me know if you think of anything else. I'm going to go on to the other scenarios, but so far, is it resonating with you? Is it a question, or do you think that this is a gotcha? Some people I see on YouTube, they say it's a gotcha. Why are people asking you this question when everything is already on your resume? Now, one of the things that I want you to know, guys, that when you go to an interview, a job interview is 50-50. You should be asking questions. You should be talking about 50% of the time, and they should be talking 50% of the time, because you want to interview them as much as they want to interview you. When you go to a job interview, it's not a one-way street, right? And you don't have to take the job either. Don't think that every job interview that you go to, you have to take the job. You are going to interview these guys, and they are going to interview you. So this is just the icebreaker, to make it warm, to make you comfortable. When I used to interview people, I make them comfortable. You know, they come in, and I start with even before I get to, tell me a little bit about yourself. Sometimes I don't even go that strict. I say, just tell me a little bit about yourself. What you've been doing. Tell me a little bit about your story. I don't go, tell me about yourself. No, I don't do that. And I wouldn't think anybody wants to be that strict. And I think people, when they should make you feel comfortable, because it is a nervous time, right? Like, you're looking for a job. Looking for a job is a job, and it's a hard job. All right. So anybody in the audience there think looking for a job is easy? You could put hashtag easy. If you think it's a hard job, put hashtag hard job, because I have looked for jobs before in my lifetime, and I know it was not an easy thing. Sometimes it takes you months and months and months if you don't have a strategy, right? So we want to make you feel comfortable. Now, you might say not every interviewer does that, but I just want to let you know, don't be afraid of this question. You're going to talk about your work story, but remember, pick out some projects. Tell them what you have done, for whom, what were the results, and what you have used. For example, the job you have done, what the problems you solved, right? So the problems you solve, and who you've done it for, and with what. For example, if you're a project scheduler, you talk about an interesting project that you were a project scheduler for, a master project scheduler. And you can even talk about some of the challenges and how you overcame them. So it is not a very long story. This is just one scenario. If you have been working there for a long time, you talk about some notable projects and some milestones. And I see Michael here said, job interviews are, looking for a job is a pain in the butt. And Lisa says it's a hard job. It is a hard job, especially if you don't have your strategy worked out. So we don't want you to get to the interview and And when you get there, you tense up, right? When I used to do interviews, I used to just go and interview the people. Yeah, I go and I interview the people. I have questions for them. They have questions for me because I felt that an interview was a way of me knowing these people. So that is the first thing, guys. Is if you think about it like that, do not be scared. Now, if you have had several jobs, and I know some of us have had several jobs, you're going to give them your little mini stories of each relevant job, not every job, because I would hope that on your resume you don't have every job. And I'm going to go back to that a little bit. We've done this session about the resume before, right? Remember that you should have your prospecting resume for those people who have been on my show before, and you should have that prospecting resume for the job, but not for the particular job that you're applying for, because a prospecting resume is the one that you're going to send out to people you see on LinkedIn who you don't have a job description for a friend who knows somebody, for somebody you're reaching out to on LinkedIn to say, do you have any jobs in your company? Take a good look at my resume or something like that. But when you're going to apply for a particular job, you need to customize your resume. I'm just throwing that in so that you don't think that you're going to get away with not customizing that resume. You customize your resume for every job that you are going to apply for. And don't tell me it's difficult, because we've been through this before. If your prospecting resume is properly done, all you're going to do is customize the job to the requirements of the job, and you should try to meet all the requirements of the job. And when you're working your resume to meet all the requirements of the job, if you don't have this special tool, you must give them alternative. If you have similar experience, if you have similar tool, you will make sure you write that resume to say you have something similar, or a similar tool, right? If you have used, if your tool was not Microsoft Project and you use something else called, I think there's something called Clarity or something like that, you say you have done such and such, and you gave these results, and you used Clarity, which was similar to Microsoft Project, so that when your resume go through the system, you still pick up your keyword, okay? I've done that. I've gone through that with people, but one day we can talk about how you're going to write that resume and make sure that you that those keywords are in there, or to make sure that you write make sure you integrate the requirements in your resume. That is very important, because I see people talking about on LinkedIn how they sell 50 resumes, how they send off 40 resumes. That is ridiculous, okay? Because if you're sending out 50 resumes and not getting a job, something is wrong, definitely wrong, right? So today's not about resume. We did resume already. We're just going to talk about this topic that we are continuing to talk about, okay? So if you have had several jobs, give them a mini story of each relevant job, not every job, and say what your major achievements were and times where you improved processes to save time and money and make things better, okay? Because every business, my friend Robert will tell you, to make the business profitable, people, processes, and product. And we are there to help them with their process. So your resume should be process oriented, okay? Your process should be a process. Your resume should tell them what you've done and be process oriented. So Lisa says, should you keep your response to a minimum, meaning be mindful of making it too lengthy so you don't bore the interviewer? Okay. Now, when I go to an interview, I don't bore anybody, because I'm telling you, you got to tell those little mini stories. Remember, all you have to do is talk about maybe 2 projects that you did, or even if you did 1 project and it was an exciting project, that means that you're going to know your work story, and you're going to know your resume so very well that you're going to talk about how you did, like how you did those things and what you achieved. And remember, you're applying for a job sometimes similar to what you have done before. So you are going to show them how you're going to use those same skills to make their life better, because nobody's hiring us because they like us. Nobody ever hired me before that. I worked so hard because they just hire me to do the job. So they are hiring you because they have a problem, right? So just remember that. No, you can't, it cannot be too lengthy. But what you're going to do, Lisa, you're going to practice this, right? So when you go there, you're going to practice this. If you go to an interview and don't practice your questions and answers, call your friend, your auntie. If you have a coach, I think your coach would probably be doing mock interview with you. I do mock interviews with people, right? Sometimes they're getting interviews and they're not getting the job. So they come to me for mock interviews. So if you're doing a mock interview with somebody, they're going to work you through the scenarios, right? And they're going to work you through the most difficult interview questions that they think, which are which they say that test your soft skills. And what I do with people, because I have a big IT background, I also have an accounting background, and I've been in business, I know process. I go into the resume and look for what they're asking for. I just did a tech writer and I go through and I pick up what the client is hiring her for. I could see right away that the client wanted to hire her because they're going to start doing videos. And she's a tech writer, and not every tech writer does videos. So I ask her some relevant questions as if I was working in the tech writing department and bringing in on a new person. So I asked her some technical questions, and I asked her some questions, some soft skill questions, so that she would be prepared, right? So when you're going for a job interview, when my daughter was interviewing, she came here, we ran through scenarios over and over again so that by the time she goes there, she would be prepared. So, guys, never go to a job interview without preparing. Preparation is key. And it is a preparation that is going to help you to be confident. If you go to a job interview and you're confident because you ran through some of the scenarios, you are not going to be nervous, right? Yeah, you're not going to be nervous, okay? Especially if it's not highly, highly technical, right? It's not highly, highly technical. So somebody here, oh yes, thank you, Lisa. So remember, and Michael says that he enjoys interviews, and Michael should actually tell us why he enjoys interviews so very much. Maybe it's because he goes and tells his story and ensure that he have a conversation. So when you go to the next interview, guys, make sure what you have is a conversation. Don't make it look like you're being grilled or they're grilling you. And honestly, if you go to a job interview and they're grilling you, I don't know if you want to work there. Who wants to work with people who make them feel uncomfortable? If you go for a job interview and they're grilling you as if you're in high school, I wouldn't want to work there. I used to have some clients and they want people to do tests, but the people who to do the tests were mostly IT, because they feel that they need to give these IT guys some tests, right? I wasn't really so happy about that. And the reason why I'm not happy is because not everybody is good at doing tests, right? Not everybody. Some people never even pass university and they make the best business people out there, right? So for me, and sometimes they say, okay, well, Microsoft give tests, but the guy from Microsoft, he didn't even finish college. So I don't understand why companies feel that it is necessary to give tests, but I don't write their process. So if you're going to an interview and you have to do a test, you have to do a test. Now, some of you in here might be a new graduate, or you might be graduating from university. I have some people in my Facebook group, and one gentleman says that he's finishing university and he's looking for a job. I hope he's here because I'm sure one day he'll have to do this. Now, if you're a new graduate, you might say, I don't have any experience. I have never seen anybody without experience, okay? I have never seen anyone without experience. As I told you, my daughter graduated with her PhD, and in 3 weeks, she got a job. And some people would say, okay, I have my PhD, I don't have experience. She had a ton of experience. If you're leaving university, even for the first degree, you have experience. Sometimes if you're leaving high school, you have a lot of experience, okay? So remember what you're going to do. You're going to speak about some recent notable projects that you took part in or achievements from college. And you can talk about, this is going to be very interesting because the college grad can talk about why you choose your career and your journey. And that would be very, very interesting conversation to have, right? So for college graduates, you probably get the best one out of this one because you get the opportunity to talk about your journey, to talk about the nice part. And you also get the opportunity to talk about projects. So if you are in here, and I don't work with a lot of high school students or university, I work with a lot of mid-level career professionals who are managers and moving up in their career and all that. But it's the same thing. You know, you're telling a story. A resume is a story, not a history. A story, right? About some great things that you have done. Okay. It's just like us business coaches. I have some business friends here, and I'm finding now that in a new journey that I'm starting, I have to know who I help, right? What their results are, and what my process is to help them. And so I can tell my story, right? I help mid-level career professionals and executives get hired and elevate their income by communicating their best, by communicating their best message. Because I'm helping people to get jobs every day. A lady just emailed me a while ago. She got the job. She worked in the job for a couple months because I helped her during COVID. And she was all over the roof today because they are promoting her, right? So, you know, that's a good story. That's a good story. That's a story you can tell when you go to the next job. What is she doing there at that company? If she were to go to another company, she could tell a good career story, right? She could even tell how she got a job during COVID, and this is what she did to get the job, and this is the job she's doing, and how she elevated, right? So you're going to COVID now, or if you're in a job now and you had it during COVID and you helped them to transition during COVID and you played a part in that, that would be also an exciting story. It's not your personal story, but it's an exciting career story. We went from in office to different platforms. We tried different ones. We tried Teams. We tried Microsoft GoToMeetings. That's also a story. Went from GoToMeetings to Team, right? So Michael is giving us a little bit of what he does. He have a conversation. He researched the background of the interviewer, the interview committee to find common thread, right? So when you're going for an interview again, you're going to get the information about the company. And as I said, how do you find information about a company? You want to know about their products, their processes, and their people. 3 things always. Product, process, and people. When they're in sync, the company will be profitable. So you might not know a lot about their people, but you might know. Every company, all their people are on LinkedIn. Their process. You can, if they're in the food industry, you know what their competitors are. You're reading the newspaper. You're knowing things about these companies. An interview is supposed to be a very interesting and exciting thing. Make it interesting, guys. The reason why you don't make it interesting is because you are not confident or you are tense. Remember, some jobs, when you go for an interview and you don't get the job, it's God helping you. It is a redirection to something better because you could just jump out of a frying pan and jump right into the fire. And you do not want to be in a job where you're miserable, okay? All right, so if you want to jump out of frying pan and jump into the fire, if you just had a job interview and you're really upset and you're really stressed, let me know in the hashtag something, right? Because you do not want to jump out of the frying pan right into the fire. Okay, so I'm just telling my career professionals, one of the things that I do, I help people to be confident, right? About their skills, about their abilities, and make sure that when I work with you, you know what your zone of genius is. And I although this session is not about that, but it is about interview. It is about confidence. and about your zone of genius. What do you do better than other people? Nothing. Of course you do something, because your delivery is there. Are lots of coaches all over the place. Coaches, they're on LinkedIn, but everybody has their zone of genius. What is your delivery? How do you work with people, right? So remember, even when you're going for a job, your delivery is going to be different from somebody else. All right, so if you agree, let me know. I'm working. I was speaking with a lady recently, and I was talking to her about promotion in her company, and she said, "Well, there's a lot of people in this area, and I might not have a chance because there are a lot of them." So I started talking to her about her skills and her abilities and the things that she does different from other people. And by the time I was over, she realized that she stands out. She stands out. So when you go to the interview, they want to know how you're standing out among the competitors, how you're going to do that job better than the other people, what you have done. So, guys, it's not that too difficult. Just remember, if you're tense and if you are nervous, it's not going to work, right? So, it don't go to an interview fretting and wondering what fretting. Don't go to the interview and start fretting about getting the job, right? Forget it. Stop thinking about getting the job. Think about the conversations that you're going to have. Think about, don't tense yourself up about, what if I don't get the job? Never think that way. Go to every job interview saying, I'm going to get this job. Don't go to a job interview saying, I might not get this job. No, you're not going to get it. If you think you're not getting it, you're not getting it. I can tell you 100%. Right. Right. So I just want you to know that, right? And always, when you're in a job interview, in the closing, even in our little statement, remember our statements were not long, right? We're just telling them a little bit about this job, what we've done for who and for what, and what we've done, the many little stories in our jobs that made it interesting. Pick out the story and always think about the future, what you can do for them. I did that in my organization. I've done that in school. I've done that in project. I have these great communication skills. And you let them know that if you're successful, you're looking forward to learning about the role quickly and getting to know as much about something, either their products, services, or something. So you can start making a valuable contribution within this organization in a short period of time, right? So it's not the tell me about yourself is not a question, right? I don't want you to tell me a question. I want you to sit down and just have a little bit of, coffee tea with me so that I can know you better before I start delving into some technical questions, right? So technical questions have their own way of answering those, but I just wanted the icebreaker because the first impression is the most lasting. So if you make a good impression, you'll get them comfortable and you will get them going, right? So drop a comment and let me know what you think about this, guys. Today is not going to be a very long show because what I'm going to do, I just want to tell you a little bit about my plans. I have some exciting things coming up. So these shows, I say it's either a master class or it is bringing a guest on, and I have two great guests coming on. They have confirmed. I just don't want to leave or let the puss out of the bag because one of them is a very, very popular confidence celebrity. So we're going to have a little bit of celebrity time. One of them coming up will be a doctor of a PhD. He's a coach, but he does with a lot of people who have PhDs and higher degrees. And you want to know about, the limiting beliefs behind overqualification and people who have PhDs and stuff like that. We're going to bring them in to tell their own stories to encourage those people with the PhDs to let them know that you can have a PhD and get your job, right? So that's going to happen soon. That's coming up next month. So as I say, some of these, what I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks too, is go through all the different interview questions and answers. This is the first one I usually deal with, but there are others. Tell me about yourself. Where will you be in 5 years? Things like that. Where do you think you'll be in 5 years? I know where exactly where I'll be in 10 years in what I'm doing right now. So as a job professional, career professional, you should kind of know where you want to be in 5 years, right? So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay. So now, if you would like to work with me too, I just want to know, because sometimes people ask me, I do have a website and I do a one-on-one coaching with people. And I also have a course that I can work through with them. So I work with a lot of executive and senior level people. If you go to goalinspiredcareercoaching.com, this is what my website looks like. And if you were to click on Let's Connect, that is going to take you to a page that says contact me. And that is what it looks like, right? And I'm all over the place. I am on YouTube. This will go up on YouTube soon. I'm on Facebook. I have the Career Advancement Club on Facebook if you want to join my Facebook Career Advancement Club. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, which I'm not, big on Instagram right now because but I'm on Twitter. I tweet every day, right? So I just wanted to let you know that I am there. And if you would like to work with me, you can also work with me. So that's great. I wanted to make you know that. And also, if you would like any information about if you have any big questions, what is keeping you up at night, honestly, I really want everybody to find work because I'm a workaholic, and when I don't work, I get sick. So I can just imagine people looking for jobs for 3 months, 6 months, etc. If you have any issues, if you have any questions, you can drop me a quick question. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I put out stuff every day. Every day I put content out. So you can do that. So this was just going to be about a half an hour show today, guys. It was so nice to see everybody again. I look forward to these ones. And as I said, I'm going to deal with some small topics in the next coming weeks. And I have some interesting people coming on. So I'm going to go out the broadcast with my little music again, and let me know, drop a comment and let me know if you like these short mini ones, and we will see you next week at 6:00 EDT EST, coming live out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and I will see you soon. Thank you, everybody.